In 1663, the partial fossilized skeleton of a woolly rhinoceros was discovered in Germany. This is the Magdeburg unicorn, one of the worst fossil reconstructions in human history.
Or is it?
It is. The biggest problem with this is that they put the shoulder blades on vertically. Effectively, this makes this creature very, very thin. The only way this could work would be if its intestines would be in his fat tail. But even then, it would hit its own belly with its heels when walking. So yes, this is a bad reconstruction, it doesn't work, but I'm here to make it work. I tried to make it work by making it look big, but now the perspective doesn't work with this foot, so forget about it. We have to fix the legs, and to do so we must first think of what this creature is and where it lives. Now we know that it's the remains of a rhinoceros, so it would be a herbivore. And you could also determine that by the shape of its skull and especially its teeth. But the question still remains whether this is a land animal or not. Since it is missing a pair of legs, I'd rather put it in water. And if we do that, I would give it flippers instead of legs. But I already did that. Unfortunately, I lost the footage, so I'm gonna bring up the image at the end of this video and explain my thought process. So I guess we're just doing it again, but let's try and work with what we have. First we have the head, and I kinda wanna leave it that way because we had the skull. We could give it less of a chin, and honestly you can almost kinda see the rhino in this. But rhinos already exist, so that would be boring. After the skull we go straight into upper body, and we will keep it this way and only change the angle of the shoulder blades. And after that we got a long ribcage and a weird tail. Now we kind of got the shoulder blade, and then comes one big muscular leg. Now if it's actually only standing on two legs, it needs good balance and good stability. So we should kind of give it T-Rex legs and feet. Now if we look at the picture again, the animal almost has sort of human looking legs. And I would imagine the kneecaps being in the front, so the legs bend backwards, which is exactly the problem, because if it just had a big fat body and the leg would bend like this, then the creature could pull itself along on the ground like a crocodile. But since the legs seem to work like human legs, it doesn't really work. Like I said, it would kick its own belly when walking. So what we gotta do is move the body out of the way. Also, I wanna give it this backwards facing thumb for stability. An idea is starting to form in my head, but I still think it's stupid. So the way these people constructed this animal, this is basically what would work, kind of. And let's be real, it's basically a human torso, and it's still not a very good concept. I think the whole thing would look a lot more realistic if it actually had legs instead of arms. There are plenty of animals who only have legs basically because they're not using their arms. Birds, for example, their arms have formed into wings and they're walking on their legs and they're using their legs for doing things. So if we do that to our creature, we basically end up with a stupid chubby T-Rex, which is kind of boring and uncreative, and also the horn would probably throw it off balance. Now, normally, if animals have a tail, it's an extension of the spine, and there will be bones in it. Our skeleton doesn't have that, yet our animal probably needs some kind of tail for balance. So it would basically have this weird floppy tail. Maybe it could even kind of use it as a whip. Now to be honest, if the horn wasn't that insanely big, it would actually sort of look like a normal animal. Yet I'm kinda missing the arms. Yet if we add them, it just looks like a badly drawn dinosaur. So honestly, this is crap. And if I were to go for this, I would just look up reference of actual dinosaurs and make it a cute little chubby dinosaur, probably an omnivore or herbivore. And of course, why not give it a horn and a floppy meaty tail? So yeah, I guess chubby dinosaur is the land version of this animal I can come up with, but I'm not too stoked about it, and I'm not actually gonna use it. Making it a sea creature on the other hand worked really well. All I did for this was give it some flippers on the tail end, paws instead of feet, and then I connected both with the skin flap, like in flying squirrels. I think with a layout like this animal would be a great swimmer. Of course we could keep the horn, but I decided against it, and I made its jaw and nose a little flatter and longer so it can snatch fish out of their hiding places in coral reefs or whatever. Of course this is no longer an herbivore, I would imagine it's an omnivore or carnivore. And that was actually the reason I decided against the horn. If you look to our animal kingdom, you'll notice that there are barely any carnivores with horns. It's mostly herbivores. They use their horns in self-defense. Carnivores, on the other hand, lean more towards fangs and claws, which makes sense since something huge and cumbersome on your head will make it harder for you to hunt. On the other hand, if we look to swordfish, for example, they are carrying their saw on the nose. A different iteration of this animal could be basically the same but with the horn on the nose, but in that case I would shape the head differently so it's still aerodynamic, or I guess hydrodynamic, in water. Now you could use the argument that the horn plays a role in mating, and of course all the females want a male with a big horn. This can even be true if it's otherwise detrimental to the animal's abilities. For example, a peacock's ability to fly is severely limited by its feathers. Evolution is still not getting rid of these feathers though, because the females dig it and it can scare away predators. I guess both would be true for a very long horn as well. But I still got rid of it because it didn't fit my artistic vision, and so I decided to give this animal a different thing for courtship display, which is its red color. Only the males would have it, and in females it would be a darker color. And speaking of colors, the reason a lot of underwater predators are darker on the back than on the belly is because if prey would look down on it, it would see its dark back against the dark sea, and if prey would look up at it, it would see its light belly against the light that's coming from above. So in both cases, it would be camouflaged, which would benefit the hunt. So these colors were also not chosen randomly. Almost everything always serves a purpose in evolution. There are only some things that are vestigial, that don't go away because they are not a detriment. Now, if this were our first piece of world building for a new planet that we're building, for a new world that we're creating, then we could even go so far as to think about why purple. Is there some kind of mineral or algae abundant in the water that make the water seem more purplish? So this could actually be an interesting starting point for a whole new world. But I gotta be honest with you, I just like purple and I didn't want to use black because you wouldn't be able to see the outlines. So for me, this time it was more of a design choice than an actual world building thing to make this creature purple, and realistically I would have probably made it basically the color of seals, like a dark gray or brown maybe. So yeah, that's what I made out of this retarded skeleton. And what I wanted to show you with that is that inspiration can come from many different places, including silly things like this. Tell me in the comments what you think about my creature. If you like the video, please don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, it really helps. And if you're looking for more inspiration or world building tutorials, feel free to have a look at my channel. Also, YouTube thinks you will enjoy this video for whatever reason, and I think if you like this one, then you'll like that one. So please have a look, I hope to see you there. Otherwise, thanks for watching, stay safe, have a wonderful time. Muffin out.